Solopreneur for $1 per month for mobile only. Sign up today.
Like empires, prices rise and fall.
Get QuickBooks Solopreneur for $1 per month.
Hey everybody, sorry for the delay. Can you guys hear me okay? Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Sorry for being a little late. The stream wasn't exactly starting. All right, so basically, just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit, not even too much about price action, but more about mentality as we kind of move into midsummer and summer, where we have potential, of course, to see something very exciting in the charts. So, I wrote down a couple of thoughts here that, when I'm on GME Twitter or, GME X, definitely kind of get a sentiment of how people are thinking, how people are interpreting price action. So I guess the purpose of this live stream is sort of to just give my thoughts on my attitude at this stage where we are right now. And maybe you guys will adapt it, maybe not. But I definitely just wanted to share my thoughts on the current scenario. So, a lot of the things that have happened recently in terms of whether it's been Ryan selling more shares, diluting, or other management decisions like not talking on the calls or whatever. At this point, it really kind of boils down to one thing and one thing only, and that's if you trust management. Pretty much exactly like Roland Kitty was saying in his stream, that at this point the play is simply, do you trust management to make the right decisions with the money that they have in their hands? Now, of course, obviously, anybody that was watching the charts a couple of weeks ago, knew this. That night where GME was up 75% for the day, right before GameStop diluted another 4 million shares. Things definitely look poised for a squeeze. Nobody in their right minds is going to deny that. And of course, management diluting for 70 million shares, 75 million shares or so, definitely stopped a short squeeze right in its tracks. Now, the thing with these kind of setups is that I don't think enough people realize this, is just how much time it takes in order for a stock to melt up, like we're hoping to see later this summer for GME. There has to be a lot of steps. There has to be a lot of things that happen to kind of set up that base for a launch pad for price to actually make that move higher. And people expecting, an instant move from 10 to the hundreds are just really setting themselves up for disappointment, because there have been a lot of melt-ups in our market. We had the GME melt-up in January 2021. We had the AMC melt-up in June 2021. We had many others since then in many different sectors. For example, NVIDIA was a recent melt-up. And all of these melt-ups really just start in the same way, in the same fashion. And it's all by forming a base. Now, of course, the triggers help to define that base, to show if the base is being completed, if the base is being formed. And as of now, as I've been posting my videos for eight weeks in a row now, been posting a video once per week. And, just reiterating my thoughts that I think this is, kind of a longer term play, and the patient ones will be rewarded. But by watching the price action all day and watching management closely and wondering why is this happening and why is that happening and why is price going up today and why is price going down today, it just seems like a whole lot of worrying for no reason, for no good cause, or as I like to say, too much yapping and not enough bullishness. It's really what it boils down to me. This setup, I've seen it before many times, and the way it usually ends is with a really big melt up to a 500 or a 1000% move, 500 or 1000% move. And of course, there is invalidation for this for that setup, which is price breaking below the weekly trigger at about 17. So that's the kind of level where price breaks below that. That's where you can start to worry. Because if that happens, it kind of invalidates the launch pad that has to build for a melt up to happen. But to worry about these downside moves here, and we've seen so many of them. This has been a very volatile period for the stock. And we've seen so many up and down, strong moves higher, strong moves lower, strong moves higher, strong moves lower. And if you're watching the chart too closely, or if you're paying too much attention to sentiment on Twitter or sentiment on Reddit, all it does is really it just sets you up for a bad time. On the other hand, if you understand that via what's happening right now, a melt-up setup is forming to complete in about another 4 to 8 weeks, whether it happens sooner, whether it happens later, seems to be about the time frame that this can happen. It's just a much easier way to go about your day, go about your life, much less stressful way, or, as I like to say it, just believing in something. All of us, or at least most of us, have been in this trade for such a long time at this point. For me personally, it's been, over 3 or 4 years at this point. And we've all been through so much of this. So, I look around Twitter, I like to see what people are saying sometimes. And I just see, in general, people that feel let down by management, or people that wanted more in the earnings call, or people that didn't want them to dilute. My main message here, I guess, is that none of that really matters. Like, again, from the beginning, from the first move that we saw here, my first video that I made, I said that I think that, May isn't such a good setup. Basing above the monthly trigger in June can be really conducive to having a melt up in July, August. And to me, not much has changed. I mean, we see all this price action and all of this price action. But does any of this affect the melt up setup in a negative way? No. All of this affects the melt up in a positive way. Now, when prices are being brought back down, the short-term holders or the short-term traders, or the people in shorter-term call contracts, those people are the ones that can be disappointed or feel let down by price action. But the ones that have been holding for as long as most of us have, which is a couple of years at this point, we are now within a month, or within a month and a half, or maybe 2 months of the greatest move that GME has made since January 2021. We're right there. We're so close. What drives the people on the other side of this trade, they want to see negative sentiment. They want to see people capitulating. They want to see people get mad at management. They want to see people questioning decisions that management is making. What drives them crazy is when everyone is getting along with each other, lifting one another up, sharing positive sentiment, being zen. That's what really drives them crazy. And so to me, I've really tried to make this as clear as possible in the 8 videos that I've made since the move happened in May, that things are looking extremely conducive here to a melt-up setup. And as we continue further on, things are validating themselves along the way and looking even better and better. So my thoughts remain strong that I am expecting a midsummer and summer melt-up around that time frame. Of course, it's not that easy to nail these things to the exact date, but I do know what I'm looking for in terms of confirmation. And so to me, at this stage, it really doesn't matter anymore if price wants to do any of these moves. I don't care if it takes the orange path. I don't care if it takes the white path. I don't care if it takes the blue path or the red path. None of this matters to me. The main thing for me is confirming the melt-up setup with a bullish weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover. And as of current day, That crossover looks like it could happen anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks. So my plan right now is, I'm trying to make other money in other areas of the market. And as we get closer and closer to the confirmation that the melt up is very likely to occur, that's when I plan on buying a lot of, further dated January call options. I do have a position because when you have a setup like this with potential to rip to $150, $200 by end of summer, this isn't a time where I'm trying to be cute and, waiting till the very last second to buy. This is way more so of, all right, I see a melt up setting forming. This can occur as early as, mid-July and as late as September. So I'm going to position myself in a way where if I'm wrong about the timing, or if this thing leaves or explodes earlier than I think it will, I'll still be able to capitalize off the move. But I'm not going to go all in because then when I do get confirmation, and that's when I really want to build my position fully. So I do have a position in the January 125 calls that I bought on this day right here. They actually went 100% on this move, and I was able to take some off the table. So a lot of the calls that I still have are riding free. But I have no problem, they're even a little bit red now, even though I bought them here because Ivy has come down recently. So I don't have much of a problem just watching these for the next month or two because it's not, a huge position per se. But my main focus is continuing to watch the development of this trade. And again, as long as price can remain above 20 for another 3, 4, 5 weeks, that's what will likely get us all bulled up and ready for a massive summer melt up. So in general, the main message I wanted to give was, if you're too fixated on the short-term price action, or if you're too fixated on what decisions management is making, you're really just setting yourself up for a bad time. We're currently in the midst of making history. We're doing something that has never been done before, and we're so close. We're so close to being able to look at everybody that we've ever spoken about GameStop and say, see, we were right, and we're getting so close. So my mentality here is simply believe in something. Everybody's been calling for a squeeze for so long, and now that we're so close, it just looks like nobody believes anymore. People are saying, oh, but if we go up, there's going to be dilution. If we go up, this and that. Once the melt up setup forms, it's usually set in stone. And GME is significantly close to forming that melt up setup. Again, invalidation would be a break below 17 over the course of the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Price breaks below 17. That'll be quite disappointing to me. But as long as price ranges above that and follows any of these paths, and even if you want to move this down a bit to here, like 18, 19, that's probably still okay. But as long as price does not lose the weekly trigger, does not break below 17 over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we should have a significant melt up coming our way in the summer. So just wanted to get on here and kind of, share my mentality that I'm carrying, which is just relaxed, poised, getting ready to add to my positions once I get confirmation that the melt up is starting. I wanted to share my conviction that I do believe GME is going to have a melt up in the summer. And, just that I think people would be a lot better off by entering that Zen mentality and believing that a melt up is coming and believing that GME will be going to the hundreds at some point this summer. So that's all, guys. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. And hopefully we have much better times ahead. Of course, I'll continue to post on updates on Twitter when things are looking interesting or when GME looks like it can make a big move higher. For now, of course, things look pretty pinned. As I always like to say, if Reddit thinks it's going to happen on a certain date, probably not going to happen on that date. So for me, just more so a game of patience. Within a month or two, we can have our confirmation, and from there, we can have a really, really fun summer. So that's all, everyone. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and looking forward to celebrating with you guys once this thing finally does get going.